Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. How are you going? My name's Flynn. I'm here with Adobe Live, and I'm joined by the wonderful designer, artist, illustrator, Bianca Beers. How are you, Bianca?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. 9 o'clock. Is that a normal time for you? Or are you a bit more of a night owl?
Well, yes, I'm a night owl usually, let alone with Isola. So I've been sleeping probably 4 a.m. and waking up at like 10 or 11.
Oh, I
So
appreciate it even more then. Really do appreciate it. And hello, everybody in chat. Hey, Joe. Hey, Festus. Good to see you in there. Anna. Great to see you. Raphael. Great to see you. What is up? We're just waking up this morning here in Australia. I know a lot of you are still probably sticking around from the amazing US stream. There's been some fantastic illustration on today. And we're going to continue that theme with Bianca. Very exciting. And so I'm just going to bring up a quick little schedule so you know what's on this week for the rest of the week on Adobe Live. Yesterday we had Ben Merritt here with some Instagram stories. Right now, here we are with the Honor Heroes campaign illustration with Bianca Beers, which we're starting in a moment. I have some creative photography editing with Demis Rusley tomorrow. And on Saturday, we got some speed painting with Jeff Chen. So we've got a jam-packed week. Still a lot to do, a lot of fun to be had. And yeah, so I think maybe, Bianca, it would be great for those that maybe aren't as familiar with your work to get a bit of an idea from you about who you are and what you do.
all right. So I am an artist, designer, and creator from Sydney, Australia. I do a lot of digital work, obviously. Working in Photoshop, I work basically on a project by project basis with different clients. So I've worked with Nike and Puma, Asics, Sony, and some other massive brands, to name a few.
Just a couple of other, just a couple of those other really super cool, fun, creative, exciting brands.
Yes, just some, just some. And so with the clients, I basically just we work together with whatever they need to create. So if it's just a piece of art for an event or for social media uses, or I've been creating filters recently, which has been really fun for like social media, like Instagram, Facebook. And gift stickers and stuff like that. I could do murals for events or advertising. So yeah, just like a lot of different things. I like to have my finger in a lot of different pies.
Yeah, every now and then I'll run into, I'm very much in Sydney, run into some of your work. I noticed just before kind of lockdown, a lot of ISO stuff, was it Galleries Victoria or something in Sydney?
Yeah.
I was walking past and I was like, that color scheme and that illustration looks quite like a lot like Bianca Beers, and it had your name in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
I always forget about that. So yeah, that's a contract they had for I think a year. It's still going. For the digital screens that they have in there, and I always forget, and I'll be walking past, and then I'll see it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
I did that.
That's a fun one.
That's
Yeah.
mine. That's awesome. That's fantastic. So yeah, I'm just reminiscing of when we were allowed to be outside. So
Yeah.
maybe we can use this medium to its best advantage, and we'll have a look over at some of your work as well before we get started. So I'm just fading over to your Instagram page so we can see your screen now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so we're on my screen now. All right, so this is my Insta page. I'm not scrolling too fast because I hear that there's a bit of lag. So I got a few different type of projects, but I've preloaded some of them.
Cool.
So, oops. I really like to focus, well, not like to focus, but I really enjoy people's faces in character and fashion. So a lot of my work that I do personally is portraits. So this is a portrait of a mate that I drew. I really like this one. I'll close them as I go, probably. Yeah,
Sure.
we'll do that. And then, these are some filters. So this is one that I've created most recently for Crate Cafe in Bali. They have a drink that has frangipanis as garnishes. So we worked off that kind of theme to kind of take people away and make them feel like they're on a holiday during isolation, which I think is really fun. And then I've just got a couple here that I made for myself. So this one actually is the one that does the best because it's just like a light glow on the face and then some little tat details, which obviously people love to pretend they have tats. And then just some more wild ones. So this guy and this one, which I dropped for Valentine's Day.
Mm.
So filters are really fun. Like I'm really enjoying making them, I guess, because I'm not that great with makeup in the real world. So filters help me pretend I am. But it's a really good medium to get into because a lot of brands are looking at that type of interaction, I guess, for their brands.
Yeah.
And then here's another one, another portrait which I've done recently, actually, of, I don't know if you guys know Ricky Thompson, but I'm a low-key fan of his. He's just absolutely wild. So I actually have a video of the making, but I think there's volume, so we might not play that. Cool. But yeah, as you can see, I like bright colors. I don't know, they make me happy, I guess. Here's another portrait of a friend that was actually commissioned, which I did recently in ISO, which was nice. And then this is probably more the style that I'll be doing today, just because it's quicker. Usually with the other portraits that I just showed on screen, they're a little bit longer, so a couple hours just for like getting the line work right and the rendering. And it's usually a more direct representation of the face, whereas this is more quickly kind of it looks like it's about that shape and that's about that color and whatnot. So these can be around 20 minutes to like 40 minutes versus like 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it could take a while. And you know what? People don't even notice the difference, I swear. Be like, yeah, that's cool. Same response either. So, you know, like you're the one that notices stuff the most.
Right.
It's crazy. You're like, damn, people didn't realize like I put in that much effort. But I feel like if you are posting on socials and you've put in a lot of work to something, it's good to have a slide with close-up so you can actually see the detail, because otherwise it's just going to get lost and it's going to look just as amazing as something quick that you've done.
Right.
What's on screen now is some sneakers I customized. That was my first project in ISO. So when isolation started, I had like a bunch of projects lined up, and they were all cancelled. And I was like feeling really defeated for a good 2 weeks. And then I was like, no, I'm going to do something. And I saw these sneakers on my floor and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to customize these sneakers. And then that'll get me back in the creative flow.
Cool.
And it did. I can't X that one because the thing's in the way. So maybe I'll just go over here. Another one. All right. I feel like, do we not have time?
No, we're cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, we can get into it whenever you like. But yeah, so it's great. Like, have like quite a like wide ranging style, not just with like different mediums. You know, with the AR filters and like the stickers and GIFs and all that sort of stuff, but also with your illustration. What did you start with first? I'm curious. Like, did you start with the kind of faster, sketchy kind of style first, or more of a finished style, and then you went back, or?
So I started with which isn't on my page anymore, super, super, super detailed, realistic kind of style. And I just felt like I remembered something that my life drawing teacher said. He was like, you can draw something like it is in real life, but then what's the point? Because you could just get a photo. You know what I mean? So I think the sketchy style actually happened later, so only recently. And that's because I just felt, one, obviously it's quicker, but two, you don't get so obsessive with getting everything perfect, which is something I personally need to work on. And it also helps your style come through a little bit better because you're not strictly adhering to, okay, an eye is this reach like size on the face, and the eye goes here and the nose goes here, and this is the shape of the leg. It's more kind of expressive.
Yeah. So
that's been my latest experimenting. Yeah. I feel like it works not really to my advantage because a lot of people would aim to have one style that they're known for as an artist, any creative really. But for me, I guess I'm still trying to find, and at the same time, you know, like I get bored of a style. So I like to mix it up between a few different varieties.
Check it out. Keep it fresh.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, so everybody, what we're going to do is we're here for 2 hours, well, a little bit less, an hour and 50. And at about halfway, we're going to do like sort of a bit of a Q&A break. But sort of what we'll do is we'll pass over to Bianca, and she's going to show us her amazing artwork. And then, at about halfway, we'll answer some of those big, deep and meaningful kind of questions. But you can ask questions as we go as well. And we can kind of, especially stuff that's pertinent to the work and stuff as well. We'll see if Bianca can answer questions while also under the pump to create her artwork live with an audience. What do you think? What do you think, Bianca?
Is that a challenge?
That is a challenge. It's literally the challenge. So I'm just transferring back over to you, and then we can get started whenever you like. Hey, Laurie, great to see you in chat again. Tricia, great to have you in there. Feel free to ask questions as we go along, because otherwise you're stuck with my dumb questions. And I do have lots and lots of questions for Bianca. Some of them good. Some of them are just about Lizzo and how she introduced me to Lizzo for the first time.
Oh, did I?
Do you remember that?
Did you watch the Tiny Desk concert? The one I gave you? You loved
it?
it?
It is on permanent rotation in my house.
Isn't it so good?
She's
amazing, bro. Okay, I'm glad I could introduce you. Actually, if that's the case, send me your address and I'll send you some things.
Oh, yeah? Oh, cool.
If you're a listener. Yeah, for real, or anything else. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to talk about what I've pre-done. So basically, I just did a quick outline sketch just so we're not lost for time. And I popped a little choice of background. We may change that color with time, but we shall see. It's all experimental at this point. So I'm just working from a visual reference, which is on my phone. So this is honoring heroes. So who I'm drawing is my partner's mother, who is a head nurse at a hospital in New York, which is like the most heavily affected place, I think, in the world from coronavirus. And she's working like around the clock, basically, no sleep. And really not much protection. Like she's just got one of those tiny little masks. Wow. And a lot of people have died on her, like a lot. Wow. And there's not really much they can do for it. So it's crazy, but this is honoring her and all the other doctors and nurses out there working around the clock.
Awesome. I should have mentioned the campaign a little bit earlier. Those regular viewers know it already, but just so the hashtag Honor Heroes campaign is where artists and illustrators from around the world are choosing real people or images of people like nurses and doctors, those that are in the front lines at the moment that are keeping things running, saving lives out there so that we can be in here. And so it's a great campaign. If you haven't seen it, check out hashtag Honor Heroes. If you're outside of America, it's HONOR. So just check that out. There's some wonderful artwork up there. We've had Ben Marriott did an animation last week. Jeremy Lord has also done a sketch here as well, illustration here on Adobe Live, and Shepard Ferry has done one, and a lot of other like really famous artists and also Bianca Beers live right now.
Yeah, and little old me. And like heroes are also the teachers and like people working in transportation and in stores right now, like Woolies.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like once you start thinking about it and you realize, oh, I'll just order everything online. You're like, oh yeah, like all those people need to be out there and deliver those things and in a high demand environment and need to be safe and secure, and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And one of my friends, she works at Mecca, the makeup store. And I mean, it's different because she's not working with people, but they're doing like online orders. So they're doing digital consults with people and then packing their stuff and shipping it to them, which is I really like that. I think it's cute. But imagine just working by yourself, literally by yourself for a full day of work. Well, I mean, I do that anyway, but packing boxes is different to drawing.
Yeah, true. Laurie, good friend Laurie in the chat was saying, feels that illustrators sometimes need to feel they've achieved realism before their style emerges.
Yeah, I feel like that's 100% true from personal experience, but I guess you want to prove that you can do it because otherwise you probably feel a bit fraudulent. And then eventually you realize, okay, nobody actually cares if I can really do that because it's actually pretty boring. Mm. Are a lot of the people out there illustrators or designers?
Great question. Let us know out there. Are you illustrators, designers in the chat?
Photographers?
We get a pretty wide mix here. Get a pretty wide
Do
mix.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. Being over here on Behance, we've actually been doing Adobe Live in Sydney for quite a while, but now that we're over on Behance, it's such a great place to be. Best chat
Yeah,
ever.
definitely.
Best community over here. It's really nice to be here. But yeah, love
Nice.
to find out, in chat, let us know. Like, do you call yourself a designer? Do you call yourself an illustrator? Something else that Bianca and I were talking about just before we started was going outside your comfort zone and doing other things, which I think a lot of us are doing at the moment.
Yeah. Taking on those creative projects that you always wanted to do but never had time to do, I guess, because you prioritized whatever needed to be done throughout the day. But now that we've got all this time, it's the perfect time to catch up on all that stuff and collaborate with other creatives and learn new skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with this style, usually I wouldn't do an outline first. I would draw the bulk of the shape with the color, but because I wanted to be you said to work a little bit slower as well, huh?
It's okay.
Right.
It's looking great. Yeah, we're all good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I forget what I was saying, but okay, that's good that the timing's all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we were working with a time limit. I just wanted to get a bit of a head start.
Cool. We've got some illustrators, so illustrator, teacher and illustrator, Laurie.
Wow.
A fantastic illustrator and teacher.
Teacher, high school or college or what's the other one? Primary school?
The little one with the little people.
The little kids.
Steve's designer, writer, editor, Photoshop user, but cannot draw.
Oh, okay.
Oh, please. I'm sure you can.
Anyone can draw.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Aspiring illustrator and graphic designer. Great. It's good, excellent time to be looking into those areas. It's awesome. Graphic designer and occasional illustrator cartoonist. That's cool. That's something I've always wanted to get into. I'd love to do cartoons.
Cartooning?
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So you draw? Flick?
No. Well, I don't mind drawing. I quite like it. Like I quite like sketching and things, but not in any professional capacity. No.
I used to, my dream, well, what I told myself as a child, I was going to be, I was going to work for Disney and be an animator. Well, not an animator, but at least one of the character developers for Disney. But then I just never, I don't know. I found out that there wasn't they used to have an office in Sydney, but then it got, I don't know what happened to it. It closed down. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm not moving away from Sydney. So that killed my dream.
Makeup artist most of the time we have in chat as well. Performance artist, astrologer. Wow, you guys are pretty interesting.
Wait, I'm interested astrologer. So like that's your job? Like what do you do for work? Like as in, sorry, do you write for a column for a magazine or do you deal with clients one-on-one or what? Because I'm so into astrology, like really big time.
Yeah, cool. Good question. Used to be an illustrator, but I can't find the motivation or inspiration to finish an artwork lately. It is a pretty difficult time. Like we're all going through very different things. You know, some people have so much more time and you know, and looking for that creative outlet. But for some people, it's really difficult. It's hard to get motivated. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to one out there who's sort of saying is lacking like a bit of motivation to illustrate at the moment?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, like you don't need to feel pressured to be doing stuff. I feel like a lot of people are on Instagram showing their amazing projects that they're doing, and it makes you feel like you're not doing enough and that you're lazy or unaccomplished or unsuccessful, and that can make you feel defeated. But I think it's important to remember that like there's life balance, dude. Like you've got to take some time to chill, take some time for yourself. But once you feel that you've done that and you actually want to get to it, but you feel like you don't have the motivation, I would say, first of all, just do it because that will actually give you the motivation once you start. It's always like with anything that starting is the hardest part.
Mm.
And then secondly, if you just start with like a quick thing, so looking at say like a bunch of flowers or something in the garden. Personally, I like floral things and flowers. I love drawing that other than faces. So if I was on the bus, I'd look at the faces around me. If I was walking in nature, I'd look at some flowers. Usually I take photos while I'm on a walk actually of flowers. But even if it's something on your phone, like something you see on Instagram that you want to redraw, if you just dedicate literally 1 minute, loosen yourself up, do a quick sketch, 1 minute again, do a quick sketch, then maybe increase that to 3 minutes, and you'll find it loosens you up, and then you can do a 5 minute and a 10 minute, and before you know it, you're actually drawing big time.
Right.
And it kind of gives you the motivation because the quick sketching loosens you up and gets you out of your head, which is what you need, I think, if you are lacking the motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's good. Good chat. I like this. I like learning more about you all. So good. Laurie's saying, so Laurie teaches college. We actually used to work together. Yeah, a long time ago. Well, yeah, was it that long ago? Anyway, we've worked together a couple of times. Fantastic teacher. Saying he desperately trying to get all students to tune into these amazing sessions. Great. Thanks, Laurie. There is an amazing amount of like free content out there, particularly at the moment. But you can't you can lead a horse to water, right? Like you can't kind of I think that's the hardest thing is to that's right. That is right.
The thing about digital is if you make a mistake, even though these ones aren't about making mistakes, but you could just delete it, which I love. Because that's why I really prefer digital, just because it's cheaper, it's quicker, and you can just play around like with colors and shapes and see what you like most before committing to something.
Yep. Absolutely. Millie was saying, I believe there's an option in Photoshop where you can scan a drawing and digitize it. Yeah, you absolutely can. So maybe that's a good time to talk about your process, because that's absolutely a way that you can do it. So some illustrators, designers and artists will draw in even like a sketchbook, like a normal book, a piece of paper or something. You can take a photo on your phone these days pretty well and just bring that in.
I do that.
And then you can drop the opacity down and draw over it again. There's all sorts of ways to do it. Bianca, how do you do it? Would you normally draw like in traditional, or do you go straight to digital with your drawings?
So with these ones, what I'm doing now, it's completely digital, just because I don't do any, I just go straight in with the color and build from there. But when I do my longer, the other portraits, which I was showing earlier from my Instagram, the more detailed ones, I actually do the line work on paper, and then I take a photo with my phone in the Adobe Capture app, which is free to download. And then you take a photo of your line work there and it converts it to a vector. So obviously we know like vectors can be expanded or minimized like infinitely without being distorted. And then if you have Adobe Creative Cloud, it's immediately available to use. So like I would just go to libraries once I open a file. Waiting. And then here, see how we've got all these outlines? So then you can just click and drag it into the canvas and then, color it.
Nice.
That's a time saver. Like, get rid of scanning, get rid of all that. Like, it is amazing. Because when I was scanning, you'd have to delete the white, but it just takes the line work. So it only brings in the line work, the black.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, really, really cool, and it's free to download, so everyone should get on it. And there's also amazing other parts of that app, like we talked about it last time, the patterns application. I live for that. It's so fun.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite a lot of fun. So that's Adobe Capture, just on the App Store. You can check it out. If you have Creative Cloud, it just all syncs together, which is really nice. As Bianca was saying, I hate having to deal with files and transfers and Dropboxing things and airdropping things. Although it's a lot easier now these days than it used to be. It's a lot easier when your work is all in the one spot, and that just lives in its own little ecosystem.
big time.
Food stylist in the chat. That's awesome. That's such an interesting job. So Tommy says, by the way, I wish my last name was Beers. Is a cool surname.
My last name isn't really Beers. So it's actually the same letters, but just rearranged. And I initially changed it to Beers just to be funny on Facebook, like 8 years ago or whatever. Really, it was just to hide from my cousins who were like really snoopy. And my family. I was doing things maybe I shouldn't be doing and I didn't want my parents to find out about. But yeah, and then it kind of just stuck. And I like alliteration, so yeah.
Very cool.
But it actually was a real last name. It's a German last name, apparently. Like there are a few German people with that last name, which is wild.
I think that there's quite a few artists we've had on, I think, that have a similar sort of story. I think a lot of the boys have like their original gamer tag name that's just kind of stuck as their like online pseudonym, and so that's just what they fused as their tag, and so that's what people know them for, and they're like, I have this alter ego, I have this different character that I am to the vast majority of people, which is quite
and a lot of people have that, you know what I mean, like creatives, artists, and recording artists, like musicians, they've all got something like that going on. So I feel like kind of normal. I'm meant to be putting shading there, not highlights.
Yeah, Steve was saying, despite my non-drawing status, I'm jonesing for an iPad and Fresco, hack away at some things with various brushes. Yeah, I know I've seen you with in the chat with Kathleen, that's been is on Adobe Live, I think maybe twice a week, just before us, who does some pretty amazing things in an hour in Fresco. It does make you think that even if you don't necessarily have the skills, you can have a go. Maybe use some fancy brushes. You haven't tried it yet?
I haven't tried it. No, I shouldn't I? I'm just very like a creature of habit. Like I use Photoshop, so I use Photoshop. You know what I mean? I've tried Illustrator. I've even had a tutor teach me for a couple of days how to use it, and I just, for the life of me, couldn't figure it out. So I'm still on Photoshop, but Photoshop's really versatile. You do a lot with it. Yeah,
totally. A lot of people we have on, like, you know, have like love one and you know, dislike, or maybe, you know, have a least favorite, we'll say, with the Illustrator and Photoshop cam. I think the Photoshop wins out in numbers, but yeah, I actually struggled a lot with Photoshop when I was learning graphic design, and much preferred Illustrator. Just loved vectors. I just love the idea of, you know, vectors can scale up and down and all that sort of stuff. I think maybe I struggled with probably printing and screen difference back then, because we were using Photoshop for, I'm showing my age, but using Photoshop to do all that digital work as well, because it worked in pixels and everything. So I think that was a bit overwhelming for a while.
I get that. But I personally, like, vectors are cool. I just feel like it's kind of takes the character out of it, because you know how it smooths lines? I mean, I know you can adjust that, but it takes out a bit of the character, kind of. So it's cool for like logos. So usually I'll draw a logo. There's one function I know in Illustrator. I'll draw a logo in Photoshop, and then I'll just drop it into Illustrator and do the image trace.
Yeah.
And then expand. Boom. Vector now.
Vector logo.
Yeah.
Sean was asking, if I have heaps of projects from video, graphics, GIF, and emote, should I just buy the whole Adobe suite to get started? Yeah, you can try it out. You can just, I think it's a week free trial. Have to double check that, but yeah, you can just give it a go and try it out, see if it's for you. Play around. There's a lot of content here on Adobe Live and elsewhere. Lots of stuff on YouTube about getting started. You can just have a bit of a play around and try not to be overwhelmed. The apps can do a lot of things. Using Photoshop as a photographer is quite different to illustrating and things like that. So just kind of pick a couple of things to try out and just give it a go.
I would say it's worth it to have the whole suite because I do videos as well for brands, like Instagram content, which is like some of what I do. Um, and it just helps having all of them.
Yeah.
I would say it's worth it. And then you've got everything in the one spot.
Laurie's saying, yeah, Clog 2 robot pencil, about other artists using their gamer tags as artist names. I didn't know robot pencil, that was like a gamer tag. I don't actually, didn't know that. That's awesome. I think he's got quite a lot
That's
of
a cool name.
robot pencil. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's
I
out
like
here.
that.
He's got some great stuff. I'm sure you'd love his work,
From
actually.
Sydney?
No, he's from the US. I don't know where in the US, but yeah, he's an American guy, I think. Yeah, he's got quite a lot of videos on here. So if chat's interested in that robot pencil, he does a lot of teaching stuff as well. So some of those people that were out there that are
Okay.
just kind of thinking about getting started or learning illustration, he's got a lot of stuff out there. In fact, quite a few artists that we've had on here know him because he's like Terry White a little bit. Like everyone's sort of
Oh, bless.
watch those videos to, they've just been around for a long time, and a lot of people have learned things from these people.
Yeah, big time.
So I'll give you a
Terry
time
White's on.
check update. We got 25
Ooh.
minutes until our
Okay.
planned break. That's
And then we go back to drawing after that, right?
yeah,
So
we'll
it's
go
not
back
a
to drawing
drama.
after that. Yeah. And that's just a bit of a guide. Just at that 25 marker, it's just a time that we can kind of collect a couple of those bigger questions and some of the questions that we have for you as well. You can take a break because drawing for 2 hours straight, it's a bit of a strain on your wrist. So we want you to be fresh, want you to have fun.
You know, I draw for like 8 hours straight. I
Okay.
never take a break. So bad. Like I was reading that you're meant to for 45 minutes on your computer. You should be getting up for 15 minutes and stretching and like, not looking at a screen. To think that I haven't been doing that and I still will not do that is crazy.
We're taking a short break at halfway point.
But taking a short break.
There's a question in chat. Do you think when you create a logo, you should always need to use Vector/Illustrator?
Yeah, if it's not, I mean, it depends. Yes, you should. Just so the company or the brand or whatever it is has what they like, everything they need. So you don't have them coming back in future like, hey, I have to print this on XYZ and it's, blurry or whatever. Like if they want to do a billboard, essentially they could do it with a vector. So you just give them the vector so they have everything they need. And then from a vector, you can change the color at a click of a button if they need it for like a flyer or they want to change the color for a tag, like a label or something. You know what I mean? It just means that your job's done basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's good.
I'll jump in there as well with just a bit. Yeah, I would definitely always kind of deliver to a client and also for yourself as well, like a vector, like logo. It's just more versatile if they need to print it on the side of a bus or a truck or something like that, or as small as an icon on a website. You want it to scale just really easily and keep the proportions, keep the colors. And as Bianca was saying, if someone does need to make any changes, like change it to black and white or something like that, it's easier to do. Otherwise, you kind of need to, you would need to have every single size and every single variation, and they would probably continually be coming back to you, or they would have to recreate everything from scratch, and you lose a lot of consistency there. You want to make it as idiot-proof is what I would call it, as idiot-proof as possible. And you can just, even we all make mistakes. So Vector's always the best for that kind of thing.
100%. 100%.
Amanda, I'm in love with Adobe Live. I don't know if I've missed one. It's great to see you in there again. What's the time for you? I think it's like quite late for you when we go live, if I remember from a previous stream. So thanks for sticking around.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Steve, actually, I have not been catching up on all the Jason Levine video stuff. So Jason's been doing a lot of video content here on Adobe Live. I haven't been because we've just been streaming so much. We're quite busy over here going live every single day with all of these artists, and I've got this like backlog of content that I really want to watch. He is the master for sure. Yeah, Too much content. Is that a problem? Can be.
No, I don't know.
Trying to
In
sift
times
through
like
it.
this, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. True, true, true.
All right. Okay. We're gonna maybe bring this up a little bit.
Where should I go to learn to use Photoshop? You can learn it here at Adobe Live. And actually, when you open the software, there's quite a few tutorials as well, how to do some sort of entry level things. Photoshop's such an interesting piece of software. I think I mentioned it before, but you actually use it for lots of different things. I mean, it was originally created to edit photos and change contrast and things for photos. Like that's why it's Photoshop. But now there's so much under the hood. There's so much going on. Illustrators and artists will use it in a certain way. Photographers will use it in a certain way. There's also, you can do compositing. You can make GIFs in Photoshop. All sorts of stuff in there. So it really depends on what kind of thing you want to do. Search for that and then the word Photoshop, and then you'll find an endless supply of tutorial content out there that you'll probably never get through it all. There's so much stuff out there.
Mm.
Do you do commissions for your portraits? Like, do people come
Yeah.
to you and ask for a portrait for themselves or somebody else?
Yeah, a lot. Sometimes you don't have time for it, but as much as I can, I like to do that because I don't just like to work with bigger brands. But yeah, all the time. I enjoy it. I love drawing people, so it's my favorite thing to do.
Do you find it's better to know the person, or are you okay like going off a photo or something like that?
I feel like when you know the person, it's easier to like get an essence of them, kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like you can always go off a photo, but to get like their character, kind of, it's better if you know them. But also when you know them, they can be like, wait, does my nose really look like that? Or what XYZ. So you've got to be careful as well if you know them. And it's like, not a commission piece, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess when it's just a random person, you can be more, what's the word? Like, is it objective or subjective? Where it's less influenced by your perception of them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But
Whatever.
I'm trying to think of what
Yeah.
the correct
Yeah.
correct one is as
Whichever one
I
that is.
realize that we're streaming live, so I don't want to get that wrong.
Yeah.
Chat will tell us.
Yeah, But yeah, basically. So it depends.
Yeah.
You could feel like you got the essence right, but they may not think that they look like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
perhaps it's better if it's a stranger.
I mean, that can happen with a photo, can't it? You take like 20 photos and you think,
Yeah.
do I really look like that? Okay, let's get this angle. Let's change this angle around.
Yeah, that's also it's true because if it's someone that you don't know as well, a lot of the time, like they'll send a photo and the lighting's horrible, or it's like just something that doesn't really show how they actually look, and you can't really get what they look like. So I need to ask for a couple photos, just so I can get how things really look, like in a few different lighting. All right. So with this, I separate layers sometimes. So for this one, it's a separate layer where I've just put black over and reduced the opacity. But sometimes I draw on the same layer as well because with the brush I'm using, it mixes or blends. Yeah, that's fine. It's always trial and error with these sketchy ones.
And how long would you usually spend when we're not rushing you rushing you to do it
Oh,
so
you're not
quickly?
rushing me. Oh yeah, I'm doing it slower than usual, really.
Oh,
But
wow.
About 40 minutes, yeah. Sometimes 20. It just depends on the person, because I find sometimes it's easy to like get the essence of someone and sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I could be drawing someone like with more detailed portraits
Mm.
for like 10 hours, 15 hours and still not get it right. And then
Mm.
others I could literally spend 45 minutes on it and it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's weird how that happens. I don't really understand why, but it's like my brain can't figure out their face.
Mm.
Does anyone else have that issue ever? I'd love to know
Let us know,
if
chat.
it's like a phenomenon. Yeah,
Um,
big time.
So yeah, the comment in chat, I highly recommend anyone to check out Jesus Ramirez streams for Photoshop. He's like a Photoshop wizard. He is actually. I know Jesus very well. He's a good mate of mine. And he's been to Sydney a couple of times when we did some events with Adobe here, and that's how I met him. And we were doing he was doing some amazing workshops. I can't believe he knows more about Photoshop than anybody I have ever met in my life, including people that work at Adobe.
So what does he do? He said he's an illustrator?
He's Photoshop. He's just the Photoshop master.
Right.
Like he just knows everything, like everything under the hood, what everything does, how to do everything the right way. He's always up to date. He's I think he has a good relationship with the people who are creating and updating in Photoshop and everything like that. He's very, very good. So yeah, that's a fantastic point that I probably should have mentioned for some of those people asking where to learn Photoshop sort of from the beginning. Yeah. Jesus Ramirez. Very
and
good.
that's on YouTube? Because I feel like I could still learn some stuff.
We all can. Yeah, absolutely.
We're
Well, you never
always
stop
learning,
right? Yeah, exactly.
No, never.
Exactly. Justine's asking, how does an artist get featured with Adobe or any brand? Actually, interestingly enough, within the last 24 hours, Adobe has just announced $1 million, which I believe is US, grant for artists to be involved with commissioned work, which is pretty incredible. In fact, Johanna, you could probably search that and maybe drop the link in the chat if you can find it. And so that's a worldwide. So wherever you are reading this or hearing about this, it's all around kind of encouraging artists to get involved. And I believe it's chosen by a committee of people. You can submit online, submit your work. And yeah, I think it's ranging from like $500 to $5,000 US. It's pretty amazing. So there is literally something launched in the last 24 hours exactly for that, to get featured, to get noticed, to get to engage with Adobe, particularly during this time. But I'll switch the question over to you, Bianca, the second part. Like, how does an artist get featured with a brand? We were talking at the beginning, you've done stuff with like Nike and Puma and like all these like big brands. How does that happen? How does that come about?
I don't know about in general, but for me personally, and I think like when I've spoken to other artists, it's pretty much the same thing. It started by doing work for free. So mainly like obviously put your work out there so that people can see what you can do. But other than that, reaching out to brands and being like, hey, I've wanted to work with you. Like, I'd be happy to do XYZ for you. Or like, say, for example, for Puma, I think before I ever started working with them in a paid, like, paid project way, I was doing sneaker customization and just like on Instagram tagging them. And yeah, so like, go out there and do the thing that you want to do. Show them that you can actually do what it is you would like to do with them, and then that way they're going to be more likely to say, okay, yeah, we're going to invest some money into this person.
Yeah,
because they need visual proof.
Totally. Yeah.
And being proactive as well, like reaching out to them, especially social media is there for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Reaching out. Don't be scared to.
And presumably, those, you might reach out to someone and say, hey, here's some of the work that I've been doing and I'd like to do for you. And if you haven't done anything, it can still be like fictitious work, right? Like you can still build a portfolio on work that you want to do, so that when you go to these brands and go to these people, you say, hey, like check out this stuff I can do. I could do this for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, build up a portfolio. Like even if it's not a website, even if it's just on your Instagram or whatever, just have like a bunch of your stuff there so that people, can see what you can do
Yeah.
and experiment and keep learning.
It's the first thing that everyone does is they'll go snooping, they'll go looking around. What happens when I search your name? What happens when what does your feed look like? What are you up to? Who's this person? So it's important to have that all kind of up to date. And would you would you recommend making a list of brands or things that you're associated with and approach them in that way, or how would you approach it?
What do you mean? Sorry,
have you approached it? Oh, like if giving advice to someone out there that wants to work with particular brands, would you recommend making a list of your favorite brands, or where would you start?
A list of your favorite brands to do what? Just so you know who to reach out to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did that. I had worked with a couple brands, and then there was a list of a few brands that I wanted to work with, and so I hit them up. I actually did some mad stalking and looked up which agencies they were with in the country that I wanted to work, and then I just emailed them a media kit. So a bunch of projects that I've done and work that I've done for myself, and a little bio, a bit about me and all that type of stuff. And I got my projects with Diesel through doing that, and I would have sent probably 50 out to a bunch of different brands in different cities, and I got a few back, maybe 5, but so 10%. But it's a numbers game, baby. That's what you got to do.
It's a numbers game, baby. That's the quote of the day.
And then once you have that, those projects under your belt, you have that to showcase, and then you have more to show for future prospects, working with brands and stuff.
And it kind of builds on itself in that sense, you're kind of continually building 100%. On it. There was a question, Bianca, what pen tool are you using?
This is from the Kyle's brush kit. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah. So this one is in the wet media brushes. It's the Real Oils brush. And I often use this one just because I like how rough it is, and it can mix as well. I either layer it if I don't want it to mix, but if I want to draw on that, I'll get a different color so you can see it mixes, which is really cool.
Nice. And chat. Oh, you're sorry. Go on.
No. Go.
Oh, we're both too polite. No, you go. We're just in about 9 minutes left on our little Q&A timer is what we'll sort of aim for, and we'll take a bit of a break, and we'll take some more questions as well that you have for Bianca. So let us know. That's what that time is for, and then we're going to get stuck back into the illustration.
I feel like I should.
So have you been to New York?
Yes, I go not a lot, but I've been about 5 or 6 times.
Right.
And my partner now is from there. I met him 2 years ago, and we were doing long distance for a year. And then it was wild, but we managed to do it, which nice. I need to give myself a pat on the back for that because
that's fantastic.
But I love that city. It's my favorite city to visit.
Right.
I was actually there to see if I wanted to live there, but I found out the quality of life is better in Australia, for real.
Right. Very cool. And you were there recently, if I remember correctly, because I follow you on Insta, and
love that.
You were there at the end of last year. Is that right?
Yeah, November. So November last year, I was there visiting because my partner was there and it was his birthday. So I had plans to be there for a month, but I had to leave early, after 9 days. I got I got an email from Nike, and they had a project that they wanted me to work on that I had to be in Sydney for. So I was like, sorry, babe, but it's Nike. I got to go. That was my first. I had worked with them previously on free contra basis, so where they give you products for your work previously, but that was a big paid job. I was like, I'm not going to miss this opportunity right now. And
That's a pretty
since
good
then I've
reason.
worked with them. Yeah, and since then I've worked with them a couple times, so it was definitely worth it. Definitely.
Yeah, you got to do that sort of thing. I think like
Hmm.
when you're called up to the big leagues, you got to say yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer the call big time.
Yeah, some people chatting about illustration being, a bit out of their comfort zone. Me too. Me too. It can be tough watching people like Bianca working so confidently and so quickly, but it's a lot of time and dedication to the craft to get there, and that shouldn't stop us from trying and having a go. And everybody starts somewhere, so don't let it, you know. Um, yeah, Steve was saying
Deter
the best
you.
part of digitally illustrating is undo. Works really well. You can always erase. You can always undo.
100%. 100%. I love that function.
Mm.
And that's what I was saying before. You can experiment with colors and stuff. Like, say you wanted to do an outline and you do like the regular black outline, and then you're like, oh, I wonder what this would look like in pink or orange, or like if I added a gradient over the color or something, you know what I mean?
Mm,
It gives you that option, which is really good. I love it.
totally. That
Mm-hmm.
scarf is looking sweet, says Steve. I agree. And the bag, it's quite interesting how it's just like kind of a little bit of yellow on the gold, but like against everything else,
Yeah.
it really pops. Like it's only a couple of
Yeah.
small lines, but it's sort of
Mhm.
little details like that kind of bring it together.
I like to do stuff like that. Like with these sketchy ones, I like to just have basic colors and just have see instead of putting shading on that and like making it really um I don't know, realistic. I like to just keep it really loose and
Mm.
um yeah, sorry. I find it really, talking back to your challenge, I don't know if I do too well. I find it really hard to like draw and talk at the same time.
We'll
I'm
take a
just gonna
break in.
see.
We'll take a break in 5 minutes, and we'll have a chat because there's some great questions in chat as well, as we go. But I'll ask you a question. So you've changed your to a much finer brush. So you've laid the color down like the shading, and now
Mhm.
you're going over the top with like, what would you call that? Like accent or like the line work or
Well, this is just really sketchy line work.
yeah,
So sometimes I would do it, sometimes I wouldn't. It's the same brush. I've just decreased the size.
right.
And yeah, I would just say sketchy line work because I don't know how good I'm going to get with the shading given the time
Mm-hmm.
because I'm working slower than usual in terms of my strokes. So yeah, I'm just adding this because it helps define things a little more.
Mm.
But I wouldn't always use it. Not
Cool,
always.
cool.
And it can add a bit of like a more sketchy quality to it, which I like as well. What just happened? Oh,
Sean was asking if you wanted to change the size of your drawing, can
hmm.
you adjust certain parts versus erasing?
So as in like make this like I could do an example right now, which is something I need to do. So I've put it all on the one layer. I've compressed it all. So I would just use the selector tool and then layer via copy just so that I'm not like cutting it because cutting completely gets rid of it. And then this needs to be a bit bigger. So I would do
Yep.
this. Um, maybe even a bit more. She's got a massive smile. I'm just gonna put it back this way just so I can change the how yeah, maybe a bit more like that. Yeah, and then pop it back like
Mm.
yeah, up here. She's got it's very high. All right. So I'm gonna just and I'm using right now like the soft edge for the eraser so that it doesn't look too obvious. All right, let's see. So yeah, you can do stuff like that if you want to rearrange it or make it bigger or smaller. Just select and then copy. Yeah, way better.
Mhm.
Whoops.
That's awesome. Amanda was asking, what tablet do you use?
I am using a Microsoft Surface Pro, and it has a little keypad that's attachable as well. So it stands up by itself, and then I just have the keypad for quick functions, and then my little pen for drawing.
Cool. That's why it
But I
looks like
sometimes use
sometimes
it.
she's drawing on our head because in the camera, because she's drawing literally like right on the screen. Yeah.
True. I didn't even think about that.
It looks
Sorry.
cool. I like it. It's like a different angle that we've had before.
Nobody does that usually? Really? Or why would that be? Oh, because they draw on a separate tablet? Is that?
Yeah, because they might have like a lot of people using a Cintiq will plug into a different like a laptop or something like that. But you're like fully mobile. You have just the Surface, and that's it. That's all you need. We were talking about that before, weren't we? Like, it's quite incredible what you can achieve. Like, you've just got this one, I shouldn't say just, but you've got this one device and you can travel with it, you use it at home, do all your work on it. It's pretty versatile, pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is. Pardon me, I don't have a desktop, so, and I always thought that I would need that to be professional, but you don't. Like, this is all I need. I don't need anything else. And you can take it with you. It's light. The problem with like having a desktop and then a portable is you need to keep, well, not need to, but most likely you need to keep files on both so that you can say you're out and you need to touch something up or whatever. So yeah, I find it's so far it's all I need, but that may change with time.
Yep. Very good. So just letting chat know, get your questions in. We're going to have a bit of a Q&A break.
Is that a cue for me to come off drawing, or no, not yet?
No, not yet. I mean, there's 30 seconds on the clock, but as I said, it is not a hard stop. So anytime in the next few minutes that you want to take a break, we'll do that and jump in.
Cool. Give me a sec.
Yeah, take your time. It's amazing. You were saying that you're working slower than normal, but you've done a lot in a short amount of time.
I feel like I haven't. Usually it would be basically, well, not basically done, but the coloring basically done. Like, I haven't even started on the giant face here, so whoops. But we'll get there in the second half. I feel like I'm getting there slowly. Oh, you said come back, yeah? I'll come back now. Or yeah? Or do I just stay here?
You can just stay. Yeah, you can just stay there. And then over here on our side, we'll flick over. So we've just got your camera now. So I'm reciting to Bianca what's going on, because if she brings this up, it'll come up again and again and again, and we'll have like an inception thing happening. So yeah, you are positioned great. And we'll do a couple of questions, and then I'll sort of let you know, and then we can flick around a little bit. Here's our first like kind of bigger, deeper, meaningful question is, how does an artist achieve style?
Hang on, sorry. You cut out.
Oh, sorry. How does an artist achieve style?
Good question. I think with time and what we were talking about before, a lot of artists tend to try and do like more realistic at the beginning, but then you kind of realize like, damn, not anyone can do that, but it's just not much of yourself in that. Right. So with time and experimenting, but also what I found helps is just like live drawing. So drawing from, and the exercises I was talking about before. So starting with 1 minute, you have 1 minute to draw this water bottle. And if you were trying to draw it lifelike, you would spend a lot of time trying to get the curve right, and how tall is it? That's how tall. That's the amount that the lid takes up. And it would just end up looking exactly like it and not much of yourself put into it. But with that 1 minute, it really frees you up, and you've got to just like get the essence of it straight away. Okay, so it's like that, boom, 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 really, really quick. And you may not get all of it finished the first time, but if you do a couple 1 minute goes or tries, you'll get faster and faster, and it loosens you up, and it gets rid of your inhibitions, and it just makes you think, all right, boom, boom, I'm just doing it. And then increase to 3 or 5 minutes, and then you get more detail in, you get to experiment with color, not just, line work. And that is how I found my style, but my style is still changing and I'm still experimenting as well. But I think that super duper helps, like really, really helps personally.
Awesome.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree. There was a follow-up question. How did you know your design style, and how did you improve it to not do the same? You kind of talked about that, but I think that was what you said, which is great.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. And the thing that prompted me to do that as well was I had like even like a simple cartoon style that I was doing too, but there was an issue with that because a bunch of people were like DMing me, um, oh my god, this artist stole your style. Oh my god, this artist stole your style. This brand stole your style. This brand stole your design. And that was like, so on one end it was super detailed, on one end it was super simple. And the simple ones, everyone was thinking that all these artists were stealing my style. And I was like, bro, it's just a simple drawing. Like anyone could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, somewhere in the middle is probably best because then it's more you.
Right. Yeah, that's a really, that totally makes sense. Yeah, that's fantastic. Raphael was asking, is there a reason to do Illustrator in Photoshop instead of AI? We did talk a little bit about that. Just like, you know, it's where you prefer to be. But do you want to address that one as well?
Yeah. I just, it's personal preference for me. I started using Photoshop when I was a teenager, just like editing photos that I'd taken at school of my friends, just making people's teeth whiter and like their eyes wider or whatever, like getting rid of a pimple. And so because I was already semi-familiar with it, that's just where I started.
Yeah.
And I personally just can't figure out Illustrator, but apparently it's better. Apparently it's easier. Easier.
As always, a constant battle, PS versus AI. Amanda, I think you'll like this question. What Amanda was asking, what does your travel essentials look like when you're designing on the go?
Water bottle. I usually charge up my tablet. I'll have the pen, water bottle. Sometimes I'll have like a little sketchbook, rubber and pencil, just so I can do outlines if I'm doing a more detailed drawing, and my phone, because if I'm doing that, then I'm using Adobe Capture to, I don't know if she was here earlier, but to take the photo so that it's a vector available in CC.
Yeah, cool.
That's Sean, it really, all you need.
That's all you need. I love it. Traveling light, but whatever you need, like you don't want to have too much stuff. That's the worst thing when you're traveling. You got to haul everything around.
You can forget stuff.
Yeah, forget stuff. It's never good. So Sean was asking, Surface versus Apple, is there a massive difference in Adobe? I can answer that one. No, like, you know, I use a PC at home and I use a Mac for traveling. We have a lot of artists and designers on here. It's basically interchangeable now. I think the only real difference is instead of control, it's command, and that's about it. Yeah. It's a handful of apps that are available on some and not the others, but yeah, otherwise doesn't really matter these days.
Yeah, that was one thing I had to adjust to, was some of the tiny little different commands. I think zooming is different as well, is it not?
Zooming,
I don't know. I forget, like using the magnifying glass on the screen. But because this has touch function, whereas my Mac didn't, it's not new.
So you can pinch and zoom on that one to go in and out, which would be quite cool. I quite like that. Gesture controls would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hamza was asking about style again. So I do a variety of different styles and subjects. I don't know if that's good. Should I focus on one style and not be very diverse? What would you recommend?
I am with you. No, I'm in the same boat. Like, I think as an artist, any artist is known for a style, and even musicians as well. It's hard. I'm like you. I like to experiment. I can get sick of drawing in a certain style, and then I'll draw in the other style until I get sick of that, and then I'll mix between them and even do like, yeah. But I think as an artist, it's better to have a body of work that kind of matches, so that first of all, your portfolio looks neater, but also people can identify it. Like if there was a mural with your work, they'd be like, that's Bianca Beers. I know it just from looking at it. So that's something I struggle with too, because I'm not at that stage yet, I don't think. But I don't know if I ever want to be, because I just find it so confining sticking to one style.
Right.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It's a tough one, yeah. And maybe there's not an answer to it. Like maybe there's not a definitive answer. It's like something that we have to continue to look and reflect and have conversations about, and kind of it's fluid, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two more questions. So what artist did you use as inspo to develop your style? Or is there an artist are there a particular artist that you look at?
I didn't use any artist for this style, this scratchy kind of style. This is more just like a loose whatever kind of style, the one that I'm showing today. For my other style, which is like more detailed and neat, perhaps well, I don't know how to say his name. Hules, you know, the guy that did the gorillas. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
what? Yeah, I get told a lot that my work looks like his, sort of, and that makes sense because I do like his work. But favorite artists, even though it's nothing like my work, but if you guys know James Jean, he's like my all-time favorite artist. He blows my effing mind. His stuff is so detailed and beautiful and intricate, and he's got amazing curves and lines. Like, if you are following any artist, you have to follow him. He's amazing. And he's worked with Prada and like massive, and Fendi and massive brands, like massive brands. But yeah, my own style is my own style. I haven't really got it from anyone.
Cool. I like that. Well, we can jump back over to the drawing and keep the questions coming, guys, because Bianca is very good at answering questions while she's going, actually. It's not an easy thing to do.
Am I?
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you. Makes it really easy to hang out and chat with you.
I don't feel like I'm that good at it. I feel like I'm not really speaking well, but I'm glad that it doesn't come off that way. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, not at all. Not at all. It's great. It's great. And great questions, chat. So do keep them coming through, and we'll try to answer them as we go, as we roll along. It's great to have you all here. We're here for another sort of 50 minutes. I will start.
The time is ticking.
It sure does. It actually goes really fast. Like often find that we ask people to come on, and it's a combination of that's quite a long time, like 2 hours. That's quite a long time to be talking and chatting. And,
I was joking.
but it goes really fast.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, a lot of love for James Jean in the chat as well. Fantastic artist. Check that out.
Amazing. And who are other artists that are great? A lot of them I know their stuff by eye, but not their name.
Right. I'm like that with street names.
I'm trying to think.
Can never remember.
Yeah. Oh, from Australia, I love Mark Conlon, who I know does work with Adobe.
Mark, yeah.
Hi to him because he's one of my faves. And if you guys, another Aussie artist, she goes by Zeke's Lunchbox. Her stuff is like freaking phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
She's currently designing a tarot deck. Her stuff's really whimsical, fantasy kind of stuff. So like people that are fairies or like half deer or alien or whatever, like really, really cool stuff.
Awesome. I'm not familiar with that artist. That's awesome.
Well, I will send you her details. Don't you worry.
Cool.
I don't know if she does. Oh no, she does do digital. I think she started doing digital work for the tarot deck. I can't wait till that tarot deck comes out. It's going to be amazing.
I'm definitely going to check it out. So Steve was saying, that's amazing, Bianca, the skin tones, the depth. It's just awesome. I agree. And there's a follow-up question from Johanna for that. So following on from Festus, do you have any advice for drawing different skin tones, fabrics, hair, textiles, that kind of thing?
I'm not really the best person to ask that. I just build and build, so I layer a lot, but I know that some people use drop-ins for texture or certain brushes to add texture. I personally, you know what I mean, over the top. I know Mark does that, but I don't personally. So for texture, I just add layer, like a little sketchy line here, sketchy line there. And with my longer portraits that I'll do, I use I call it airbrush, but it's just a soft brush. So the regular round brush, but soft, which for like the shading and contouring, which gives it a very smooth effect. So usually I'll go over it with like a rough and just like do something like that so that it adds a bit of texture. But I have thought about using a brush for just adding texture all over. I just haven't gotten around to it, I guess. It is a thing to learn in ISO, though. I'd say
It's on the
it's
list.
worth it. Oh, it's a long list, to tell you that.
Sort of never ends. I find that list of things to learn and do.
Mm.
Never enough time.
Mm-hmm. Never. I forgot to do the lines around here. Cool. Boom.
See if we're saying
Awesome.
about if I saw that lady, I would instantly recognize her from this art piece. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad. All right, so now we'll do the bigger face. She's super dark. The photos that she gave me, I don't want to hate on Androids, but they're all Android photos and they're not that great. Do you know how it does that weird color where it makes everything kind of sepia-ish and like super, super smooth? You're like, no. But I just feel like I'm trying to work from.
So sometimes the photo is like a bit off, you think, like when it's taken on a certain phone sometimes?
Yeah, the colors a little bit, I don't know what you'd call it, like yellowy green.
Right.
I should have tried to color correct it before working from it, but anyway, whatever. We're going for it.
We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question that I wanted to ask you from some of the work that you've been doing about the augmented reality stuff that you've been doing, and there was an exhibition I think you did. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that was actually my first exhibit ever, which was in December, so like 4 months ago now. I don't know why I put off an exhibit for so long. I just probably didn't want the attention or whatever. Like, you know, artists always second guessing themselves, like, who am I to have an exhibition? Who the hell would come? And like, you know, all that type of thing. But finally did it. I actually did it with Microsoft, which was a good excuse to get out there. And the exhibit was a series of portraits of people, different demographics, so different ages, races, sexualities, genders, sizes, beliefs, backgrounds, all that. Just wanted to share their stories and highlight the similarities of the human experience, as I put it, but also like celebrating our differences. And, you know, like, I just wanted to bring people together. I wanted it to not just be obviously an exhibit, but bring people from all walks of life together and like show that we can all get along and we can all relate on some level, and we all go through the same things in life. So with the exhibit, I did like portraits, very detailed face portraits from like the bust up. And now it's getting hard to draw and talk. And it was accompanied by like a little interview that I had with them. So I asked their name, like what they identify as or who they identify as, and then I got into like questions like, what's your favorite meal? What's your favorite color? Stuff like that, fun little things. And then I got them to speak on ways that they had encountered prejudice in their lives, and like a message that they could give to themselves as when they were younger. And I just did that because I wanted to show that everyone experiences hate or prejudice, and we all kind of deserving of the same love and respect. So in the AR element, I worked with iJack, which is an augmented reality company, to animate the portraits visually, and then also had an audio loop running. So I asked the question, like, introduce yourself, who you are, what you stand for. And so that was playing in audio while the visual animation ran, which was really cool. I felt like it tied together with the whole thing. Yeah, it was awesome. I really, really loved it, and everyone really enjoyed it, and everyone was there to support. I just felt so supported that night. It was amazing.
Oh, cool.
And I actually, on that note, which I was telling you earlier, the company reached out to me just this morning, like an hour, 2 hours ago, and gallery in Sweden wants to hire. So, like with AR, it's available in the digital space at any time.
Right.
So, the company and I made an agreement where if they have like my work in a portfolio, and then if a company wants to hire it, they can. So, it's actually a really good way to get money for nothing. Like, I've already done the work, but a Swedish exhibit wants to hire it for a month. So, yeah.
Wow.
Easy money. It's a good thing to look into in this time. And it's like an exciting new medium, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. It's like a passive income thing. Like you can have a digital exhibition in like kind of once, and then it goes out. That would be interesting. Where does the connection to Sweden comes through? Because as you can tell by the accents, chat, like we're from the other side of the planet. That's quite a distance.
Yeah. So the company is obviously online. So just being online, people can see you from wherever, A lot of my followers are from the States, and a lot of the people buying from my shop, like I would say 90% of them are from the US. Right. So I probably have a bigger following over there than I do here. But my top demographics are Sydney, Melbourne, New York, and London randomly. So yeah, it's just the digital age. Like you can reach out to anyone in this age.
That's true. Ashley in chat was saying, love that you just, go through the lines over lines and that it's not so rigid like this style.
Yeah, no, I like to keep it free, which is good as well for this because we were on a time limit. So the less perfect, the better.
It adds a lot of obviously it adds a lot of character, like this kind of style. It adds that like handmade kind of style, which I really like as well.
Thank you.
I noticed that you kind of you'll focus on an area like the eyes. Just then you kind of did them on a couple of different layers, and then do you get to a point where you're like, yep, that's cool, I'm quite happy with that, and then you merge the layers? Yep.
I actually shouldn't have merged.
Time.
Yeah, I merged this to their face to the body, which I wasn't meant to do. I was meant to keep it behind just so I could move it around. But I stuffed up. But usually I like to compress it just because otherwise it can get crazy if you have too many layers and you want to edit something, you don't know where it's, So once I'm happy with it, I do like to merge layers. But yeah, I wouldn't have merged those two layers. That was silly of me. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Whatever.
We're all human.
Oh, well.
And we are on a super tight time limit. Festus, Steve, I keep calling you Festus and Steve. That's just going to happen, dude. Like, I know you as Festus, but I keep seeing Steve in my chat. So you are forever going to be called both. Just a thought to you, Bianca. Have you ever done showings at like local cafes or small art galleries? And do showings now include digital stuff these days?
Smart question. I actually, like I said, I haven't really, I was always too scared to show my work. I really have problems with like second guessing myself still. So I hadn't really displayed anywhere besides I had displayed in a cafe in New York, I guess, because I was like, nobody will know me here, so I can just put it up here. And that was it. That's all. But since Beach Burrito Company has reached out to me and they want me to do an exhibit or like just put my work up there, which would be cool, which I was planning for before this all happened. So life will resume after this and then we can get back to it. And also Crate Cafe in Bali will be another place. Yeah, my friend's mum owns that place, so it's a really like popular cafe over there, so that'll be cool. I also want to visit next time I'm there. Can't believe I haven't yet.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, you go. No, I was going to ask a silly question.
Please do.
I was going to say, do you get free burritos if you're doing stuff with like Beach Burrito, and like, do you get like, is it a common thing? Because you do stuff with like Nike and Puma and Microsoft and everything, like, is it kind of baked in that they say, oh, and also we'll give you like this free stuff, or you kind of like, hey, by the way, can I like have like 10 free burritos? I'm joking with the burrito one. Like I would definitely do that. But like, I mean, like if it's, something like, like Bali or something, it's like, maybe I'll come over and stay for a couple of nights,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I'm a sucker. Well, not a sucker, but I'm all about freebies. Like, I love that. So I'm always, if I'm not offered it, I'll ask for it.
Yeah, nice.
There's no harm in asking. And I used to be like really scared to do that, but you're not gonna get anything unless you ask for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Ask and you shall receive.
totally. It's true.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely with everything, I try to get something out of it. That sounds horrible, but you know, people are people. Like they understand if you enjoy the brand or like company,
Yeah,
it's a compliment to ask. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're just working there for the money, and it'd be kind of obvious. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know if you follow what I'm saying.
I do.
As I
Yeah, I
try.
do. There was something else that I wanted to chat about. We've got about 30 minutes left. Just let you and chat know. Feel free to throw some more questions in chat. But there was one more kind of area that I really wanted to cover with you because you're a very positive person, and we were chatting quite a lot, like leading up to this, about like being in isolation and kind of seeing the positive side of things. I just want to get like a sense check of like your how to see the positive side of things at the moment. We were chatting a little bit about it before we went live.
Well, firstly, I want to say like it wasn't. I mean, like even positive people have their down days. Like when this all started, I did freak out and I felt quite defeated because I had a bunch of things planned for the next 2 months, and it literally all got cancelled within a matter of days, and that kind of really took away my sense of stability as a person, as an artist, as someone with a career. And I was just like, oh my God, is this even like a viable career? What am I doing with my life? Like if something like this can just, then, you know, all that type of thing. And that probably went on for 2 weeks, self-pity spiral. But after that, I was just like, you know what? This is free time, essentially. Like all those things I said I was going to do, clean up my website, customize those shoes, paint those skateboard decks, collaborate with friends, which I had always said I would do, but just never had the time, or just prioritized paid work. It's like, now's the time to do that. So yeah, my first project was customizing the Pumas, which I showed on screen earlier. And I mean, I've worked with Puma before on a paid basis, but they did reach out and they're like, look, like as soon as this is all over, we want to work again, blah, 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 which is really cool. And they shared my stuff on their platform, so on their TikTok and their Instagram. So it's like a good time to reach out to collaborate with friends and brands. There's a lot of different, also another project, I did a self-portrait for the first time ever. I always said I wasn't going to, but my friend Yasmin she runs Culture Machine. She's doing a series where she's interviewing people about their projects that they're undertaking during ISO, and she is looking for more people to speak to. So she's got quite a big platform. So if you want to hop on that, follow her on Instagram and give her a message. It is Yasmin, Yasmin, Suteja, Suteja. So she's doing that, and I got to collaborate with her again, which was lovely. And I have this what we're doing right now came out of ISO as well. So I feel like just being proactive, trying to stay productive, like catching up on things. It's a good time to learn, expand your skills, try things.
Yeah, cool.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, I think like even the amount of like Adobe Live that we're doing at the moment is because of the current time. Like, you know, usually we'll be in a studio. We have a couple of artists that will come in, and we can only really do that like every couple of weeks. Whereas now that everybody's at home, we've completely redesigned the way that we're doing everything over here. And it's actually led to us doing much, much, much more. And, you know, getting more content out there and hanging out with amazing artists such as yourself and being able to kind of bring that out to the world, which is something we just kind of never would have thought of doing, because we want to be in the studio and we want to hang out and we want to have that physical interaction. But actually the silver lining is that we're creating a lot more than we ever have before. So yeah, I really liked your perspective when we were chatting kind of in the lead up to this about being positive and finding those things to do and also being hungry and looking for the opportunities that are out there.
And it doesn't need to be with a brand. Like you can collaborate with friends in all different mediums as well. Like some of my friends are stylists, some are photographers, some are artists, and I'm collaborating with a bunch of different people on a bunch of different projects. So it doesn't need to just be in your field. Whatever you do, you can have fun and play around.
Yeah, it's cool. Please keep these going post ISO. Yeah, Amanda. Yeah, we're talking about that. Talking about that a lot. Yeah, we certainly will. What it looks like, who knows? But yeah, there's no plans on changing anytime soon. We're having a great time catching up with people we haven't caught up with in a long time. I'm trying to remember when we did our first Adobe Live. It was quite a while ago, probably a year.
It was. No, not a year. Was it a year? When was it? It was a while ago. Was it before I went to the States? So it would have been, yeah, you're right. It would have been a year ago.
Yeah, it was in our old studio. Since then, that whole studio was knocked down, and we built an entire new one that was up for about 6 weeks. Johanna in chat can attest for that. She was there helping us out, and then all this happened. So there's like a nice shiny studio sitting there, completely
and
empty.
Nobody. That's wild.
It's the way.
I can't believe it's been a year too.
I know.
This year has flown.
It really has. It really has. I'd love to know from chat, like what you're doing to keep positive during ISO. Like, is there any tips that you guys? Because this chat is amazing. There's some very talented people in here. Love to hear what you're up to, what you're doing. I'm spending a lot more time with my family, which is a really cool.
Yeah, same.
Other thing, like obviously the family in my house. Certainly missing the extended family, which is a shame.
Also, I feel like it's been like we're spending so much time with ourselves. It's a good time for introspection and like working on yourself. So I've been reading like a lot of self-help books and meditating and journaling, which really helps with your mental space if you're struggling. What did I say? Mentally, meditating, journaling. Yeah, I find they always really help whenever I'm feeling a little bit icky.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to go to the bathroom, but I'm not going to. That's what you get for 2 coffees. Oh my gosh. No, not that one. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Now she's got some white eyeshadow on, but I don't think I'll be drawing that. That's a good thing as well. You can just interpret it however you want. And put some pink to go with the pink theme that we have going on. Yeah, okay, that's good enough.
Cool.
Whoops.
Some comments in chat about that. Steve lives alone but has mates all over the world. Chats on Facebook or FaceTime work really well. Responding to Facebook posts with amusing Photoshop stuff keeps the mind nimble. Are you photoshopping your friends into funny situations? That's always a good time. Laurie's working with some emerging game streamers to help them with their design needs and their profiles. It's great fun. Yeah, wow, that's super interesting. That would be cool. Awesome. What are you creating? Are you creating like logos and like branding stuff for them? I'd be really interested in what you're doing with them, Laurie.
Me too.
Yeah, Sean is helping businesses to pivot to new ideas to keep them going. Because times like these bring out the best ideas and innovations. Absolutely true. Crisis 100%. Leads to innovation. What's the Simpsons thing? Crisis-unity? Something like that.
I don't know. That's from the Simpsons? When?
Yeah. Oh, there's an episode. I'm pretty sure there's something like that.
You could be right.
I hope I'm right. That's the one thing I'm good at is Simpsons quotes.
I used to kill up, but my brain's just gone now.
Liam's back. What's up, Liam? Logos, emojis, and badges. Yeah. Cool. I like it. That's fun. So 22 minutes left on the rocket clock, everybody. we'll kind of wind down around then as well. So a little bit of a time there. And this is for I'll just remind people, kind of maybe people that weren't here at the very beginning. So this is is part of the hashtag Honor Heroes campaign that Adobe has launched. You just type in hashtag Honor Heroes, Instagram, and anywhere where hashtags can be found. And you'll see like a lot of artworks going up around this, where we're honoring those people who are, working hard to either save lives or allow us to be home, to kind of keep us all safe, which is this kind of phenomenon happening around the world. And what's her name that you're illustrating today?
Freya. She's my partner's mum.
Freya, your partner's mum, and she's in New York, the epicenter now, unfortunately, of everything that is happening. Working as a nurse, in New York. What hospital is she at in New York?
I don't know.
Don't know.
No, I'll have to ask.
That's cool.
I should know that.
Is she working in Manhattan? Is she living in Manhattan as well? Or is she living out of the city?
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, yeah.
In Brooklyn. So I think she works in the Brooklyn area, which would be actually way worse, because that's where like all of the affluent communities are, and they're just like crammed together, whereas Manhattan's a little bit more spaced out. So a lot of the virus cases are in that kind of area.
All right. Didn't know that. Who here is Australian? That's what Liam's saying in the chat. I am. Bianca is.
I am.
People in chat are too. Laurie's saying the illustrations are looking great, Bianca. Lots of personality and sensitivity.
That's what I'm trying to achieve. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, this white can come down a little bit. Yeah, like that. That's what we're doing. Okay. A little bit more. Maybe here. And like that. And oh, my phone battery is about to die. Okay. I'm using hotspot from my phone for because like where my house is, it was like difficult to get an internet connection for some reason.
Yeah.
So I just hotspot my phone whenever I need it.
Yeah.
From my computer.
Yeah.
Which
4G.
Drains the battery.
I was chatting to some of our US streamer buddies, and I was just sort of mentioning that for some people it's just much better to tether from their phone, and they were extremely surprised. They said, "There's no way it's better on your phone." I said, "Unfortunately, internet can be quite spotty around certain parts of Australia. You either get lucky to be really close to a node or something like that, or you're not, and there's sometimes not a lot that we can do about that." So.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they're trying to work to get it better. And like even during lockdown, it's been so slow. Like I'll be trying to send a file on WeTransfer, and usually it'll take me not that long at all, like a couple minutes, but it's been maybe half an hour to send something that would take me 5 minutes before. So yeah, that hasn't been the most fun thing. I'm like, damn, everyone's on their computers right now.
True. A lot of streaming.
That's first world problems.
True. Yes, it is. Sean's saying, Bianca, you could get the Archibald Prize.
Oh, I doubt that, but thank you. Appreciate it. I've thought about.
Have you ever thought about entering those sorts of things? Like there's quite a few around. Archibald Prize, I think there's quite a few different categories in there as well. There's the Archibald, and then there's the other ones that are along there.
There are so many great artists, though. Like, it just blows my mind going to the Archibald every time. And what's the name of the other one that they have? It's like the ones that got the Packers Prize. Is that what it's called?
I can't remember, but that's what I was trying to remember as well. And that's amazing.
I often prefer it. Yeah, I often prefer it because less politics. It's more about,
Yeah, exactly.
The art.
Johanna was asking, do you usually listen to musics or musics? I'll try that again. Do you usually listen to music or podcasts when you draw?
Not. I find I don't really. I'm not a podcast person. I do occasionally listen to them, but not while I'm working. I usually listen to music. But recently I haven't been. I think I just wanted the quiet recently, which sometimes is the case.
Mm.
But mainly music, yeah, and any type of music to fit my mood. So I know
Yep.
some people like to listen to a certain type when they're working, but drawing you don't really need to think too much, so you can kind of get away with listening to whatever you want. Sometimes it's metal, sometimes it's classical, sometimes it's hip hop.
Yep.
I really like chill hop actually. Listening to chill hop, it's super relaxing but
Mm.
vibey. Does anyone else listen to chill hop?
Yeah, we've actually been playing it very softly in the background for
Oh,
this.
lovely.
Yeah.
It's perfect, isn't it? It's like atmospheric but cool.
Yeah, totally. It's great. It's great just to have. Yeah, it's perfect for having on in the background and when you need to do stuff. I'm usually in silence when I have to like type a lot of emails or do a lot of kind of critical thinking. But yeah, if it's doing some sort of kind of process where you can kind of zone out a little bit, it's perfect. You can kind of lose yourself in time, I think.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, 100%.
Um,
Music's important.
yeah, definitely. There's a question in chat for you. I think a bit of advice question. So my 12-year-old is very artistic and loves to digitally sketch and create images. What is the best device and software platform, in your opinion, for someone starting out?
Sorry, say again. I got caught up.
That's cool. What is the best device and software platform, in your opinion, for someone starting out? Like, I guess where would someone start? Like a 12-year-old start for digitally sketching?
Well, it's a whole different world right now. I started on Photoshop, so that's always what I've known, and that was back when there was less options available. And I still work on Photoshop today. So personally, I don't know if I could give advice on anything else, and I don't know if I can.
Mm.
Can I, Flynn?
What was
I'm
that?
asking you.
Sorry, I was reading chat.
Oh no, you're right. I was saying, but I like if I could mention other apps that
Sure.
people
Yeah,
use,
of
or
course. Yeah, yeah.
um, okay, I've heard things about Procreate.
Hmm.
So apparently it's quite easy, so maybe there. But personally, I've only ever used Photoshop, so I actually would have personally not much of an idea outside of Adobe,
Yeah, there's
which
lots
is
of different
perfect
options
for
out there
you.
for sure. There's lots of different options out there for sure. Like, and if you have an iPad already, like Fresco is an Adobe app that's on there that you can try out. If you already have a Creative Cloud account, like your daughter, sorry, son or daughter, I'm not sure, your 12-year-old, we'll leave it. It's the way that you said it. Can get in there and play around straight away as well. So, but yeah, definitely encouraging someone at 12 years old. They're usually also tech savvy. Like kids are so tech savvy these days. They're just natural
It
in
blows
tech.
my mind.
It's amazing. Yeah, exactly.
It blows my mind.
Yep.
Like
Laurie's
kids
saying
are so
Fresco in chat. Yeah, Fresco is an Adobe app that's on iPad as well, which you can check out. You can do some very fun things with lots of brushes. There's a lot of content on here with people showing how to use the app as well from scratch. So it's pretty easy and intuitive to learn. But yeah.
I've heard good things about Fresco. I need to try it though. I'm just going to move this more central-ish. And how much time do we have, did you say?
About 12 minutes. So it's 13 minutes
All right.
on the clock, and then we'll kind of have a reflection on what we've done and sort of say our goodbyes. But if there's any more questions in chat, let us know in the next sort of 5-10, and we'll see if we have time to answer them if we do. It's amazing. We always do like a headshot like above the neck as well.
I like doing that because I like fashion, right? So I like to draw full bodies where I can get like a fit in, but then
Yeah.
you don't get the character of the face.
Mm.
So I do like to include something that just has, I do like to include just the face a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, and it's another angle as well. So it really kind of like looking at it, you kind of get a much more of a sense of who she is and what she would look like, because you've got two photos in the one artwork, which I took, not two photos, two illustrations. Yeah, it's very interesting. It reminds me of like character design for someone doing like, characters for a game or something, where they're
Oh,
trying to
cool.
show like, hey, this is
Yeah,
this is the artistic version of what this person or this character would look like.
yeah, I feel you. That's cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
I feel like I might start, even though I'm not happy with how it is necessarily, I'm going to start with just some final things, which I like to do. So when I do these rough ones, a lot of the time I do a bit of floral arrangement around it just to like tie it. And it's very rough stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Oh no, I think it just froze. Okay, I'm good. Jeez.
all sorts of things happen live,
Oh,
like Murphy's
it's
law
crazy.
multiplied.
Mhm.
Happens all
I
the
don't know
time.
why. Yeah, we were talking the other day in prep for this, and I remember I had no issues whatsoever with my computer, no issues, and then out of nowhere, like things were just stuffing up like yesterday, and I was like, okay, of course this happens
Oh, totally.
right before we're about to do live. I don't know. It's like the universe just knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Murphy's law is out in full force when you're doing live content. But hey, it's live. Chat's always super cool. Audience is always very kind.
Understanding.
Very understanding. We're just proving that it's live.
Mhm.
Keeping things exciting,
Exactly.
Johanna. Yeah, exactly. Amanda is saying
Mm,
this is amazing. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely amazing.
thank you.
Karen was asking, would you
Yeah.
recommend using Waitom Intuos Small for beginners? Yep, that's a fantastic option.
Hmm.
And if you weren't here, Karen, Bianca's using a Surface Pro, just like a computer
Hmm.
and tablet, or like kind of all in one. It's really
Hmm.
you need to investigate and see like what your budget is,
Yeah.
what you already have. Like some Wacoms can plug in, and basically replace your mouse. So you might have a fairly powerful machine or a machine that you're really comfortable with. You can just plug in and go, and that's probably the cheapest option. You might be in the market for a new computer as well, and then you might want to think about something like that. That's a more integrated approach. It is a variable kind of answer to that question. But there's some great entry level stuff like styluses. They used to be stylus. I don't know what the plural is, but they used to be quite expensive, and now they're much more affordable. So I believe there's actually some content on Adobe Live in here about sort of choosing the right kind of entry level device for drawing and illustrating with a stylus.
Hmm. 100%.
Do you create technical question? But do you create your artwork in RGB?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm. Just because a lot of it gets put online anyway, so that's the brightest option. And I like color, so yeah,
Yep.
often RGB. Although sometimes for a client, it'll have to be some other type, CMYK. It just depends what it's being used for.
Yeah. And will you create in RGB and then kind of convert it to CMYK, or will you say,
Um,
okay, this is for a CMYK, so I'm just going to start it in CMYK?
yeah, sometimes I forget, but I prefer to start in CMYK because then you know how it looks like. Because if it
Mm.
gets converted, it can look a little bit different, and you got so attached. It's called demoitis apparently. So you get attached to how it was, and then you're like, oh damn, why doesn't it look like that? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So working from a certain. Um, I'm just gonna rotate this.
Festus was asking, what flower is that in the background? You just drew that from hand, so do you know what it is?
Which one? This one behind her here.
I'm assuming, yeah, the very floral,
It's like
more
I guess
intricate one.
I guess it's a lily-ish. I was thinking of a lily when I drew it, but I couldn't remember what a lily looked like. So yeah,
Lilyish.
um, lily-ish. And then the other one's daisy-ish, and these ones are obviously very simple. The ones up the front. Um, I just like whatever looks all right, you know what I mean? This is just like final touches. But I do have like a folder on my phone of different flowers that I look at sometimes when I'm doing these.
Sean was asking, how do you copyright your works, especially online?
I don't. Probably something I should look into, but I don't. And I know a lot of artists don't either, but it's definitely something to think about. When you're a freelancer, I think you need to consider yourself as a business person, not just an artist. And so with that comes a lot of things that you have to think about, which sometimes you can forget. So thanks for the reminder. My computer's freezing up a little bit right now. It's not doing what I'm making it do.
It knows that we've only got like 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, well, 5 to 10 left. So it's like, okay.
Don't we just love that? It's like, all right, see you later, mate. And then I'll reduce that. Yes, a bit cool. Maybe not. Maybe I'll move that here. Up there. Okay, fine. And then, oh yeah, okay. Oh, too big. Oh my gosh, I know if I wash this back, I'm just going to be like a gremlin hunched over in the camera. I forgot that the camera's on me.
There's a lovely comment here. Love the composition, the color scheme, palette, everything about it. You're very talented, and it's a joy to watch you create. It's a very lovely comment.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
oh, that's
totally
amazing.
agree.
Thank you. I'm going to put some love hearts because we love her, Mama Bear. Maybe one down here as well.
Angela was saying, I get my son to put his signature in the work so that he can prove it is his.
Oh, yeah.
You'll do that.
Oh,
you do
obviously.
That as well. I recognize your. Yeah.
I didn't even think about, of course. You have to do that. Otherwise, people can just claim it as their own. And I've seen other people do that to artists. So,
yeah. It's definitely like crop it out sometimes as well. Like sometimes you see people cropping stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. I usually put it right. So, like, I could put it right here. You know what I mean? So very in the photos so that it's not, but it's hard because you don't, sometimes adding it detracts from the aesthetic. Right. So I usually make it pretty small. And if someone wanted to, they could just like hop on Photoshop and like clone stamp it out. But I just always pray that they don't. If someone goes to that effort to steal, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Good on them. So I don't know. I might put another little one here. And how long do we have on the clock?
4 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
It's gone fast, huh?
Very. Maybe a little bit.
Can you add a watermark? Was a question in there. Yeah, you can. You can add watermarks. There's a lot of debate. Well, there used to be a lot of debate around that with photographers and particularly photographers. I think where they used to put the watermark over the top. But I think most people have kind of drifted away from that because if someone really, as Bianca was saying, someone really wanted to kind of get rid of it, there are ways that you can do that. And it also detracts from the image. So if you're posting something on Instagram, it's got a giant watermark over the top of it. It's not super great to look at for an audience. So it is a problem though, like, people stealing artwork. But yeah, it's not an easy answer, I think.
Yeah, like I'll always put my signature, but even certain artworks, like I'll consider not, just because it's such a design where I don't know if I could do it without it ruining the aesthetic.
Right.
So I just try to make it as small as possible. But yeah, it is tricky because you don't want to ruin what it looks like and like detract from the image. But at the same time, you don't want anyone to steal it. If it gets reshared and someone doesn't tag you, then nobody knows it's your work, and that could potentially be a job that you missed out on.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think it's important to have it somewhere. even if it's small. Because usually when your stuff gets shared, it's not that people are being like, what's the word? I don't know, evil or trying to steal your work. They just share it, but don't think about the fact that you put time into it and you're the creator. Like, people don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're not doing it on purpose to be vindictive. They're just absent-minded about it.
Yeah.
Even sometimes, like if I work from a photo reference and it's like a big photographer, say an artist, like I'll forget sometimes to say photo reference of an image by blah, blah, blah. But that's important. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do need to do that, because then you're crediting, because you didn't create that out of your own mind. You're using a visual reference.
Right. Exactly.
It's important.
Thanks for the answer. I aspire to be stolen. Yeah, I guess there is like a little bit of a.
No, you don't.
You don't.
Oh dear, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's flattering, I guess, but I don't know. All right, and then maybe a bit more, and then I swear I'm
1 minute. About 1 minute left, and then we'll pens down. Got my bossy boots on. This is amazing. I really, I know that you said that usually you'll do it like sort of much faster than this, and you've slowed down for us so that we can follow along, and we're asking a lot from your computer and Australian internet. But it looks fantastic. I really am surprised at how quickly you could put it all together.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's not as good as I would like, but that is just the critic in me. And that's always going to be the case, I guess.
Yeah, that's always the way. We think it's great. Chat has been singing your praises the entire time. I think that's the Australian like tall poppy syndrome in you.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know, but that phrase was coined here. Like, I completely did not know that, but it makes sense. Because like in the States, people like, they collaborate, but they talk as soon as you meet someone, hey, I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, I've done this, this, and this. But we are really hesitant to do stuff like that. And I think that works to our detriment. So we need to learn to talk about ourselves a little bit more and be proud of what we have achieved and can achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that does take us to time, and it's time to sort of start saying our goodbyes. This is amazing. Will you post this? Online on Instagram or something like that?
I will. Yes, I will. I've got a few scheduled posts, but I will do this in a couple. I think I'm going to finish it off before I post it. But yes, I shall. And then you can all have a little like and let me know how much you like it.
Yeah, awesome.
Please.
We'll share your link to Instagram in the chat here in Behance, and it's also, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's just down the bottom as well. A link over to Bianca's Instagram. But I kind of don't want to fade to our camera because I really want to look at this artwork. But it's amazing. Thank you so much for waking up with us today. It's been fantastic to hang out with you again. I'm sure it won't be another year before we hang out. We got to get you back. Got to get you back on Adobe Live again soon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, chat. Some great questions. Thank you, Johanna, for looking after us. And we'll be back soon.
See you guys.
So we'll see you later, and we'll fade up with our schedule so you can see what's happening in the week. So thank you, everybody. And thank you one more time, Bianca. Great hanging out with you.
So good hanging out with you, Flynn.